In this video, we're going to look at the current system of classification as well as the 6 kingdoms. We're firstly going to talk about Carl Linnaeus as the person who came up with the current classification system, his system of classification, as well as the binomial nomenclature or scientific name of species, the difference between kingdoms and domains, and then briefly go through each of the 6 kingdoms. So firstly, Carl Linnaeus. He was a Swedish botanist and is considered to be the father of taxonomy. So he's the one that came up with the system that we currently use. At the time, the naming conventions were quite tricky. And in the previous video, we talked about the scientific name for a tomato, which was just ridiculously long. What Linnaeus did is he came up with a new conventions based on classifying things into different groups or taxa in a hierarchical system based on either the physical form or the structure. And this was something that he was actually quite good at. We have modified it in some ways, but we still pretty much use the same system. And most of the things that he classified, and he classified, I think it's about 8,000 different organisms, most of them are still in the place where he put them. Some of them have changed a little bit, but most of them are still there. Okay, so the Linnaean classification system starts at kingdom as the biggest taxa. So it's encompassing a whole heap of different organisms. And then getting more and more specific, we have phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Okay, so species is the most specific taxa, and those are all organisms that are able to breed with each other. So all very, very similar organisms. Now the way that we remember this classification system is kids playing chicken on freeways get smashed, which covers the kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, so just remember, kids playing chicken on freeways get smashed. Now the scientific names for organisms, or the binomial nomenclature, comes from the last 2 taxa in that hierarchy, namely the genus and the species. So when we're talking a scientific name, we say the genus and then the species. And the species is in a lowercase while the genus is in an uppercase. So for example, this beautiful animal, the western lowland gorilla, is in the kingdom Animalia, or animals. The phylum Chordata, those with a spinal cord or backbone. The class Mammalia, that generally have live young, amongst some other things. The order of primates. The family of Hominidae, or hominids. The genus Gorilla, and the species Gorilla. So the scientific name, or the binomial nomenclature for the western lowland gorilla is gorilla. Okay, so similarly we have the leopard, or the common name is the leopard. It again is in the kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia. So it's in a different order, the Carnivore, the family Felidae, the genus Panthera, and the species Pardus. So the scientific name for the leopard is the Panthera pardus. Now in the genus Panthera there are 5 different species. The Panthera uncia, or the snow leopard, the Panthera onca, or jaguar, Panthera leo, the lion, and the Panthera tigris, or tiger. So these are different species within the same genus, and we can see that these are related to each other quite closely because the first part of their scientific name, the Panthera, is the same, coming from them all sharing the same genus. Now we've talked about animals in the last 2 examples, and we know that animals are the cutest of all the kingdoms. However, there's not the only kingdom. There are other kingdoms with other things in them that you need to know about. Now the kingdom system has been modified, and different people have different ways of classing things into kingdoms. So the traditional 5 kingdom system consists of animals, Animalia, fungi, Plantae, plants, Protista, protists, and Minera, which are bacteria, basically. The six kingdom system takes those Minera and breaks them into bacteria and Archaea. So there are two extra kingdoms in the six kingdoms. Other people choose to have above the kingdoms three domains. So you have three domains. In the bacteria domain is the bacteria kingdom. In the Archaea domain, the Archaea kingdom. And in the Eukarya domain, Protista, Plantae, fungi, and animals. So all of those within the Eukarya. And that's based on cell structure. So it's probably the most correct. But if you understand the six different kingdoms and how they fit in, you'll be fine. So, the first kingdom, as we talked about, the cutest kingdom, the Animalia. They are multicellular, heterotrophic. They have internal digestion, so they eat things and digest them inside. And examples include invertebrates, fish, birds, and mammals. Okay, Plantae, or plants, are multicellular. They are autotrophic and get their energy through photosynthesis. They have a cell wall which is made of cellulose, and examples include trees, flowers, and ferns. Fungi are multicellular, well, usually multicellular, or at least live in colonies. They are heterotrophic. They have external digestion in the way that the thing that they are digesting, they basically sit on top of it rather than taking it inside them. They have a cell wall made of chitin, and examples include mushrooms, yeast, and molds. Okay, bacteria, so this is true bacteria we're talking about, unicellular, prokaryotic, and heterotrophic. Archaea, unicellular, prokaryotic. They're mostly chemotrophic, meaning that they get their energy by chemical reactions involving breaking down chemicals. And they generally live in extreme environments. So that might be an environment of high salinity or a hot environment, high temperature. So they're living in extreme environments. Protista, okay, these are again single-celled organisms, unicellular organisms, and the protists, we say that they're unicellular organisms that behave a bit more like animals. So if you're watching them, they actually look like little animals, which is pretty cool. They can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. They're eukaryotic, and examples include algae and amoeba. All right, in this video we've looked at Carl Linnaeus, the father of taxonomy. We've looked at the Linnaean classification system being a hierarchical system with kingdom at the top and species at the bottom. We've looked at the binomial naming, which is where the scientific name comes from, being the genus and the species. We've looked at the kingdoms and how the kingdoms and domains fit into each other, with the 5 kingdoms, with Minera, or the 6 kingdoms, where Minera is broken up into bacteria and Archaea, and the domains, which consist of eubacteria, Archaea, and eukaryotes. And we've looked at the 6 kingdoms and how they fit into those domains.